People like the Spetsnaz, who at the time were fighting in Afghanistan, crawling up mountain trying to get the Mujahedin, they probably have a different movement pattern that they have to work with than you and I sitting at a desk, okay?
What? Mujahedin. What? My man, hey. Whoa, he really believed that marketing slogan of Pavel. Be like, yo, you need a kettlebell to fight the Mujahedin. What? My main man. Gregory from Lebe here. We're all about kettlebells. So if you are into kettlebells, then like the video and consider subscribing. So this gentleman right here is a YouTuber and a bodybuilder and a coach. His name is Mike. And this popped up on my feed and I wanted to check out what he says, because he says, don't use kettlebells while exercising gym workout. Now, that's kind of a strange title. So what I was just initially thinking is he's just saying do not use kettlebells in a gym. So let's listen to what he says.
I might as well continue on the hate mail streak and talk why kettlebells also have no place in bodybuilding.
So interesting how we lifted up those kettlebells. I'm always so keen on making sure that I lift weights with my legs. And yes, you might say, Gregory, you keep exaggerating. What are you talking about? Well, I'm not talking about lifting up a pencil from the floor. I'm talking about weights that you lift off the floor, where you have to program your kinesthetic sense to initially and instantly use your legs instead of your back. And that's what I see so many people do. So he bends over, grabs the weight and lifts it up. I don't care how heavy the kettlebell or the weight in general is. I respect it, and therefore I use my legs to lift the weight to save my spine. Now, aside from the way he lifts the bell, he says kettlebells have no place in bodybuilding. Now, from a hypertrophy standpoint, I do get his point, and I would underline it. I will say, if you're into bodybuilding, maximum hypertrophy, then kettlebells are not the perfect tool. Yet, it may be a tool that you can use to, for example, strengthen your connective tissues that will allow you to lift heavier weights, or you can use it to build your strength endurance that will allow you to build your split training accordingly so that you can do more volume in the same workout session without getting tired in the first place. So I would say the kettlebell has a place as a supportive tool, but not as the main tool.
So kettlebells burst onto the scene in the mid-80s when a Russian Spetsnaz instructor defected and brought them here.
Defected? What? Did Pavel defect from Russia to the States? What? You know, as far as I'm aware of with the history when it comes to kettlebells, they were used as scale weights, then they jumped into the circus, then they jumped into strongman stuff, into some serious lifting, and then competitions were formed around the 1960s, I think. And Pavel, the modern kettlebell revolution, where Pavel has had a huge hand in it, was around the 2000s, or I think the end of the 90s, 2000s, right? So, wow, defecting the Spetsnaz guy, well, and that's marketing. I'm not sure. I think Pavel has a background in the military, but I'm not sure if he defected. So he defected from Russia, was like, okay guys, so here I go. I'm showing you the secret weapon. That's why I had to defect. Nah, I don't think that was the case, but maybe it was part of the marketing.
That should tell you something. An elite unit like the Spetsnaz can handle a clunky, unstable object. Most of us cannot.
What? Okay, this is on a serious note. You don't have to be an elite unit, SWAT team, FBI, CIA, Spetsnaz, specials commander to handle a kettlebell. You know what it boils down to. It boils down to understanding the technique, learning it properly, and then applying effort and persistence.
Now, if you compete in some kettlebell-related things, then of course you should use kettlebells. But for hypertrophy, they are poor choice. Why? One, people use them to swing. anything with momentum, by definition, kills tension. The less tension there is, the injury risk goes up and the less muscle building potential.
Understanding how the kettlebell works, you have to understand that there are processes that require you to tense the muscles and then relax them. And you have to understand how this works in the concept of kettlebell training and all by itself. So I'm not saying, I wouldn't say per se it goes up, because we could say this about any training modality that exists. If you don't have tension with a heavy deadlift, injury risk goes up. If you don't have tension with, for example, a lat pull, where you have heavy weight, and then you let the bar slam up and then hit you on the chin. Sounds funny, but it happens to people. Or let's take a bench press, don't have a lot of tension, it can kill you. And then he says momentum kills tension, and that leads to less muscle building potential. I agree. Yet, we have to differentiate again. I love this. So it's a great video because it actually leads to a nuanced discussion. Let's take a better example, a clean and jerk, where we have relaxation and tension happening all over and over again. Yet for a period, let's say like for 10 minutes, that means I have 10 minutes of tension. So there's a lot of volume, even though there's relaxation involved. By definition, I wouldn't say that momentum kills tension, because momentum will allow you, the user of this particular training modality, to use that tool for longer periods of time, and this in turn may lead to more volume.
The movement pattern doesn't work. Like I said, they're clunky, they're difficult to get up. And then people say, oh,
well, I don't like that. The movement pattern doesn't work. I don't like that. Now again, he's probably still honing in on the hypertrophy idea. Yet you cannot walk around and say the movement pattern doesn't work. Well, what kind of movement pattern? What movement pattern are we talking about? For example, movement patterns of bodybuilding, that doesn't work. A bench press, an isolated chest fly, doesn't work. Why? Because it doesn't work the proper movement pattern. Well, what kind of movement pattern? Well, the hinge. Yeah, but that's a chest exercise. No, hinge is supposed to be working, right? So you see that argument doesn't work. We cannot just say the movement pattern is not working per se, because, for example, when we talk about the hinge, that's one of the most crucial aspects that the kettlebell provides you with, is the ability to work your hinge movement pattern, which almost no other training modality offers you that same benefit or the same possibility to cyclically work that hinge movement pattern.
Functionality. Well, I'm not talking about functionality, I'm talking about bodybuilding. So I don't quite know when you would ever need a Turkish Get Up, like maybe if you're into S&M or something.
So here he moves away from hypertrophy. Now, he could have stayed with the argument like, yeah, I don't know why you would do a Turkish Get Up for hypertrophy. Boom, we got it. But now he kind of extends it a little bit and says, why would you ever do a Turkish Get Up? Well, because it involves every muscle group. You have a lunge, you have a windmill, you have a hinge pattern, you have a pulling motion, you have a pressing motion, you have a stabilizing aspect, you have so many things. You have bracing of the abdominals, you have proper breathing mechanics that you have to work with. It's great for martial arts, but it's also great for general people, because we have to also get up from the floor and stand up, and the older we get, the stronger we have to be in those everyday positions. For example, we had one of our clients who said, I just have to find some exercises to work on my balance, because the older I get, the higher the chances are that I trip and I fall because I lose balance.
But most of us, there is no purpose to do that. It's very dangerous and it's very risky.
Doing a heavy deadlift can be dangerous. Doing a heavy bench press can be dangerous. Doing a heavy lat pull can be dangerous. Doing a heavy curl can be dangerous. If you drop the dumbbell on your foot, that all happened. Even happened to Jeff Cavalier from Athlete Next. So everything can be dangerous. And yes, a Turkish Get Up, especially a heavy Turkish Get Up, it can be a dangerous thing, and you have to be careful. But it's always the same thing. Understand the technique, get proper coaching, and then you can engage in it as safe as possible.
People like the Spetsnaz, who at the time were fighting in Afghanistan, crawling a mountain trying to get the Mujahedin, they probably have a different movement pattern that they have to work with than you and I sitting at a desk, okay?
What? Mujahedin. What? My man, hey, whoa, he really believed that marketing slogan of Pavel. Be like, yo, you need a kettlebell to fight the Mujahedin. What? my main man. And here, again, he extends away from hypertrophy. Now we talk about functionality. Now we talk about what is the proper and best thing for people who sit on a desk all day. Now you ask me, what is a better thing, to do a Turkish Get Up or to sit on the lap pole and do this? I would opt in for the Turkish Get Up because it requires coordination, requires full body activation, more muscle groups are involved. You stand, you sit, you lay down on the floor, or even better thing, just do everything standing, because that's one of the critiques that I always have. People are sitting on a desk all day, then they go into the gym and then they sit again all the time. Flies, rows, pulls, you sit again. So do it everything standing. So maybe in that regard, a kettlebell lends itself better if we talk about the aspect of people who are sitting on a desk all day and what they need. But hey, if you fight the Mujahedin, you better grab some kettlebells. I love it.
Us trying to get bigger or leaner, the idea is always how to shorten the muscle most effectively. And for that, we want to eliminate all other factors that make it difficult.
So he talks about getting bigger and getting leaner. Now, here comes a nuanced discussion again. You can get lean with kettlebells. Can you get massively big with kettlebells? Well, maybe to a certain extent, but never to an extent where if you use very heavy weights or you focus solely on hypertrophy. Yet, he mentioned these two aspects, getting bigger and lean, right before he talks about people who sit on a desk all day. And I doubt that people who sit on the desk all day, that everybody of those, that whole group wants to get big and lean. What they need is just proper movement. And in that regard, I think the kettlebell lends itself way better. Yet at the same time, I do agree, hypertrophy is another type of job that requires a different tool. But that doesn't mean that you cannot use other tools to supplement that original tool that you're using to get the job done.
90 Days of Kettlebells is an online workout course for beginners who want to train at home, lose weight, and achieve lasting results without wasting time and money with crash diets and unused gym memberships. The program works as follows. You will do 3 kettlebell workouts per week that gradually increase in difficulty. You'll also build 3 powerful eating habits that have proven successful in our coaching. As the name implies, the program lasts 90 days and you will have lifelong access after purchase. We also include live accountability sessions where you will publicly state your goals. Psychology shows us that if we make our goals public, our adherence to the process and the program increases dramatically. If you have been struggling to put together an elaborate kettlebell workout system while trying to lose weight, then 90 Days of Kettlebells is for you. The price of 90 Days of Kettlebells is $59 per month for 3 months, and you can save 20% with a one-time payment of $147. We'll open registration only to a small number of new clients. Join the waiting list now to get access 24 hours before the general public. Link is in the description.